Okay, but what made you do law first and then CA? What was it that drew you towards law?
95% of my work was tax and company law.
Okay.
There was a lot of sales tax litigation.
The indirect
tax came.
Okay.
Then central sales tax. Then excise, Central Excise Act. Lot of litigation was there. I used to be nearly every week in Delhi appearing for the CGAT. It was called CGAT.
You called a Napo kid then, because now it is everywhere. Everyone is like called a Napo kid. How did you, what is your views?
You are very good. Merely being so-and-so's son is not going to get you any work. And your recognition won't be there. You have to put your foot forward and you have to have the confidence, which will only come if you work hard. Sometimes, I feel sad for them, They come to court and when the judge asks one question, who are you appearing for? They don't know. But if you don't have a competent person as your son or junior, you are not going to be given that work. So in addition to the work coming because of so-and-so, your metal will be seen by the client.
So what made you to come to profession? Was it like a compulsion? Because your dad...
yeah. So what happened was, I need to give a little background now. Then father was practicing after grandfather passed away. When grandfather was there, they had the firm of Ganesh Rao and Sundaraswamy.
Okay.
So after grandfather passed away, my father continued in his own name. Some years later, he became Advocate General. The Advocate General can have private work also, provided government is not...
Don't clash with the government. Yes.
You don't need permission.
Yes.
So he continued his practice. He used to go to trial court and also argue many matters there. And that's how he continued the profession. In the 75-76, my elder brother Ramdas qualified as a lawyer, and he joined my father's chambers, and then they started the firm. When he joined as Sundaraswamy and Ramdas. So that firm continued till, and my brother used to work in the office with the father, but my brother decided to do mainly service and labor work.
Okay.
And of course, father used to handle a lot of service and labor work. But the subordinate courts, that is the labor court, the tribunal, that part of the work my brother started handling. And father used to do all the high court work, including corporate work, some taxation. So when I qualified in 1980, May of 80, I got final year law. And the same year, in November, I took a CA final exam and I qualified in January of 81. And then I immediately enrolled as a lawyer. Sorry, I enrolled as a chartered accountant. And I took a certificate of practice and I started practice.
As a chartered accountant?
As a chartered accountant.
Okay.
One of my uncles was a chartered accountant, named Keshavamurthy. So he had his office in the same building. And so I used to assist him in some matters. And I started building up my own practice. About 6-7 months down the line, my father and my uncle had a meeting. And maybe father expressed to him that one more hand in the office would be good. Who will be able to handle the commercial side of the litigation. Therefore, they both felt that it may be good for me, instead of continuing as a practicing CA, to switch and become a lawyer. So after the discussion, one day my father called me and said, this is what I think we should do. What are your views? Are you okay with it? So I said, I'm okay with it. In fact, I like the legal side of the accounting profession also.
Okay.
So when I said that, then they said, very good. So what happened was, I had to give up my certificate of practice in the institute, and then I enrolled as a lawyer in the August of 1981. And then the firm was reconstituted. It became Sundaraswamy, Ramdas and Anand.
Okay.
So that firm continued till father left us in 96. Even after that, for 7-8 years, we continued, my brother and I. And thereafter, when the next generation started coming in, my nephew, that's my brother's son, also joined the profession. He joined our firm. And thereafter, we thought that, better that we have our own practices. And that's how we did some reorganization. And I moved to a different firm.
So that's nice.
And we set up another law firm with my daughter Sumana. And the firm continued. And now we are more or less sort of independent, in the sense that I do my work and they do their work, that kind of thing. So the journey in profession has been a very exhilarating one.
Okay, but what made you do law first and then CA? What was it that drew you towards law?
Now you see, there was a very peculiar rule in the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. When you're doing, after your graduation, you have to find a chartered accountant with whom you have to serve a bond for 3 years. That's called the articles.
Correct.
So you serve an agreement with him to say, I will serve you for 3 years and I'll work as an article. And parallel to that, you had to study various courses which the institute offers. So there is a syllabus and there are 2 exams. You have to write test papers. You have to get a eligibility certificate to apply for the exam. So it's a big procedure. Now, therefore, the institute said that you cannot take up any other course when you're doing articles because they didn't want you to get distracted.
Correct.
So if you had to take any other course, you had to go back to the institute and tell them that, sir, I want to do also this subject, this course. Will you permit me? Invariably, they permitted you to do 2 courses simultaneously. One was law, another one was company secretary.
Oh, okay.
So these 2 you could
were permitted, so you chose law over company secretary.
No, I actually chose both. I did all of them parallelly. So there's a lot of overlap also. Some subjects are overlapping. Of course, the depth of each exam is different. CA exam is very deep.
Different, yeah.
CS is not so deep. Law is, of course,
it's a worse
what shall I say? Cakewalk if you compare to those.
Yes. Because see, each one has a very intriguing stories, especially in the 80s. My husband was doing chartered accountant course. He's a chartered accountant. Because he couldn't get a place to live in Bangalore, they said if you take a admission in law college, you will get a hostel facility in central government, in the central college. So that is how he got both law. See, each one has such wonderful stories. So, but generally people who become chartered accountants have a strong tax practice because somehow they all think they are one niche above than the common lawyers. So you did not choose to have, because there was already a practice of commercial law, you did not choose to have specifically tax practice? Or
no, initial years,
you were doing only
75% of my work was tax and company law only.
Okay.
There was a lot of sales tax litigation.
Then indirect
tax came.
Okay.
Then central sales tax. Then excise, Central Excise Act. Lot of litigation was there. I used to be nearly every week in Delhi appearing for the CGAT. It was called CGAT. Customs Excise Gold Control Appellate Tribunal it is called. And later it was changed to CESTAT. Then they did not have a bench in South India. Then a bench in Madras was set up. So Taj Coromandel became my second home.
Second home to stay.
So that was the type of work that I was doing. And company law, there was no company law board then, it came much later. So all company litigation under the Companies Act of 56 was in High Court. So we would be appearing regularly before all the company judges. I remember many of them. Justice Chandrakant Rajars, Justice P.P. Bopanna, and prior to that was Justice M.N. Venkatachalaya, and even prior to that was Justice E.S. Venkatramaya. Of course, I was not in practice then, but when Justice Venkatachalaya was on the bench, I was very much there and I did many matters before him also. So that's how the practice was. Then in the initial years after I became a lawyer, I used to assist father in any tax matter, direct and indirect, both of them.
I'm sure you would be giving very valuable inputs because he didn't have a tax background. So you brought all the merits tax is concerned.
Another lawyer with whom I was associated was Mr. K.R. Ramamani. There's a very old law firm, Subrayayar Ramamani Padmanabhan. That was the name of the firm. Subrayayar is regarded as the father of the modern tax litigation system. And so their law firm, one of the second partner was Padmanabhan, who was my father's classmate. And he also, earned a very good name. So Mr. Ramamani, his peculiarity was, he used to appear only in the income tax tribunal and before commissioner appeals. He would not appear anywhere else. So there was a lot of work. From Madras he used to come to Bangalore nearly every week and attend to these cases. So for some time, to pick up some of the nuances, father requested him, and whenever he came to Bangalore to argue any cases, I would be, with him, shadowing him and following him and, learning.
Yeah, but see, 91 to, so you came almost, you had like 15 years with your father?
Yeah.
Almost 15. That's a very good grounding years to get a what shall I say, blessing of a senior to kind of be in the profession. You get very grounded. 10, 15 years. Weren't you called a Napo kid then? Because now it is everywhere. Everyone is like called a Napo kid. How did you? What is your views? Does a person who comes from first generation do well, or person who has a legacy? What are the challenges? What are the difficulties for both of them?
I think, I know many first generation lawyers who are excellent, who are top class. They are better than third generation lawyers. In my mind, I can recall the names. What I'm saying is, it depends on how you work. One of them who worked with me for nearly 15 years, what a top class fellow. He was, in fact, even yesterday I was reading a file in which he had prepared notes for me to argue in 2011.
When he was with you?
When he was my junior at the time. And even now, if I had to make notes afresh, I wouldn't have done anything different from what he did.
No, but do you think it is easy for second or third generation lawyers, or is it tough for the first generation?
No. If you have a law chamber, say you're in your father's chamber, your father will attract the work. So because of his presence, some work will come. But if you don't have a competent person as your son or junior, you are not going to be given that work. So in addition to the work coming because of so-and-so, your metal will be seen by the client. So unless you are very good, merely being so-and-so's son is not going to get you any work. And your recognition won't be there. In fact, my father was such a reticent person. He never introduced me to any court or any client. One day, some matter was there before Chief Justice Malimat. It was a difficult tax matter. The single judge Justice Puttasamy had directed our client, which was a public sector company, to pay 50% of the disputed demand for interim order.
Okay.
It's more or less a standard order. So client went on saying, sir, 50% too high, we can't pay, please file, we are in loss, this time. So I discussed with senior. He said, discretionary order, who is going to interfere with this? A client is insisting. I said, you tell them clearly that there is not much of a chance. But if you have insurmountable difficulty to pay and you want to take a chance, you can do it. So that was told. The management said, no sir, we want to, because we want to see what. So we prepared the case, then I drafted it, senior saw it, then he said, yes, everything is okay, file it. Then case got listed before Chief Justice. The day I went to brief him, he said, Neene Madu.
Okay.
You argue it. So I was very confident. I was only 2 years in the profession also. I went to Chief Justice Malimat's court, the matter reached, I stood up and I didn't have to open my file. I explained what the facts are, what the product is, what is the issue. And I said, this is a public sector company, this is how it is. So 50%, you should not ask me to pay for these reasons. He had me very patiently. I said, young man, you did a fantastic job. You know your brief completely. You didn't have to open your file. I must say you did, nobody else could have said what you said. I think more than that. But this is a discretionary order.
So I'm not going to.
So our role is very limited. Unless we find it completely perverse, we can't do that because judge has not decided it. So don't feel bad, but we are not going to entertain this appeal. They dismissed it. Then, before he could say anything, Mr. U.L. Narayan Rao was sitting in the court. Okay. He was the Central Government Standing Counsel. He would have had to appear against me in that case. He stood up. So I think your lordships don't know who this young man is. So he said, yes, who is he? He is so-and-so's son. And Chief Justice sat back and said, oh,
the
now
tip of the old block.
Why he has argued like this.
No, but he didn't give you the order. And I would say this, that your seniors also don't give winning horses to ride on. They'll only give you, I think your father knew that very rare chance for you to get a stay on the 50%, and that's why Ma probably
So the thing is that you have to put your foot forward and you have to have the confidence, which will only come if you work hard. The juniors, sometimes, I feel sad for them, They come to court and when the judge asks one question, who are you appearing for? They don't know.
I think
I don't know whether the seniors who ask them to go and appear in the case tell them, See, sometimes in a hurry, we are not giving them the file. Morning we are going to court. At least then we must tell them, no,
What they should
please
do.
attend this case. We are so and so. This is what will happen. With our experience, we know Allah, what is going to happen in court. Judge is going to ask you this question. So what do you say for that? You must have an answer. No? So if the junior doesn't know the answer, you must coach and tell them, look here, if the judge asks this question, this is one answer you can possibly give. So in other words, the file must be seen by them. But today we see many juniors who say, I want time. And tell me what this matter is about. Many times, funnily, the judge, when you ask for time, the judge will say, no, I think I'm issuing rule in this case and granting interim order. Again, I want time.
I want time.
So the judge says, you don't want this order? You don't want admission? You don't want interim order? Did you see
Yeah, we see this happening. I think so the advocates will tell, just get time and come. Ensure that. So I think that's how the senior gives that instruction, and they feel that I have to live by that. And maybe do not think, many of them may not really know what a rule NISA is. They come and ask what it is. So we need to have a bit more experience to know that. So now that we're on the topic, what would you say, how should a senior mentor young ones in profession?
I would say you can mentor them by how you behave and how you conduct yourself.
But as they observe you, they will.
Your standards must be clear. Your hard work must be known. The junior must see that any case which senior is going to argue, senior has the facts in grip. Senior knows what is to be argued. And all the page numbers, the case law, if there's some latest case law, senior must be briefed on that. In many cases, we ourselves know it. We will say, no, adella on judgment idari, recent ag bandide, ಎರಡು ವಾರದಿಂದ. This is I remember sometimes who's the judge, or I remember which court, or I remember which law report it has come, approximate time period. If this you give, they search. And then the thing is, they must know that to reach a level of success in the profession, you should put hard work. And seniors put hard work.
You think juniors nowadays do put hard work?
Some of them work hard, no doubt about it.
No, most of them do.
Yeah.
But what would you say for the ones who do not?
They are the people who are not so serious about profession. I always tell them, whenever we take a new junior, or I meet some youngster, or somebody is come for internship and going away, I just tell them one thing. I said, see, law is a very demanding profession, right? Especially for women. Now, as you progress in your personal life, you get married, then children, then in-laws, and so many issues are there for them. Therefore, for them to overcome all that, they need a supporting family. If the family doesn't support women, they cannot be successful as lawyers. Because the day you have a case, if you say, today there is this puja at home, you cannot go to court. If the mother-in-law says that, then what happens? So they have to be understanding and accommodative. That's two things. Secondly, a spouse also. He needs to be, what shall I say, aware of the demanding nature of the profession. And long hours, we have to work late in the evening. Even if you go out, for domestic reasons, if you go home at 6 o'clock someday, your mind is still in office till 9 o'clock or 9:30,
Yes.
8:30.
No, 24 hours. I mean, we are working. Suddenly, sometimes you get up in the morning and you're thinking something is not worked, something is not worked. You've not got the right ground for a given case or something. It keeps working on your mind. There's no doubt.